My Hero Academia All's Justice was playable for the first time at PAX West, and today I have some brand new gameplay to show you guys, including Ojiro gameplay, who wasn't even playable in the PAX demo, as well as the sneak peek at story mode. But first I had a friend capture some gameplay for me at PAX, and bro brought me some vertical video. So I'm not gonna make you watch all of this, but as you can see here, Tokoyami has been heavily remixed. Back in One's Justice 2, he was basically a stance character. You could play with Dark Shadow summoned or unsummoned, and that would significantly change how this character is played, including being able to send Dark Shadow out to do its own thing while you do something else with Tokoyami. You kinda needed two brains to play him, but that's exactly what made him so cool. Well, in All's Justice, he still has that puppeteer stance, but instead of unsummoning Dark Shadow, you basically equip him now. Ragnarok is one of your stances, and the entire moveset for Tokoyami while in Ragnarok is brand new. It's awesome to see some characters are still getting remixed like crazy in this game. Why are you filming him? No, I don't care about the ceiling. Okay. It doesn't go for every character though. From what I've seen, Hawks, Twice, and All for One, they kind of play the same as they did before. Not to say they're exactly the same. Most characters actually do something extra when they are in Rising. Usually something passively just happens. And we're gonna see a lot of that in today's gameplay. So let's dive right in. I want to watch two full matches today and break them down. You may have seen parts of this one already. It was posted by a few media outlets that went to Gamescom. And I think it's an awesome match to tell you about its overall systems. So if you've missed the reveal, this game is now a 3v3 tag game. Each character has their own health bar, and you can freely tag into each other while attacking, defending, or in neutral. We can now confirm that assists are completely gone though. In One's Justice 2, you used to be able to call your characters as assists to play alongside your main character, but since now you can just tag them in, they have completely removed assists from the game. Underneath each character's health bar is their stamina bar. This is what gets drained whenever they block or use their dodge. It's the same as One's Justice 2. But below that is a new mechanic called Emergency Dodge. And that's this game's combo breaker. It's basically a burst. In fact, Toga is going to use it right here. You start with only one burst and gain another stock every time a character dies. So overall, each player may break up to 3 combos per match, but they can only hold 2 bursts at any given time. The two players here are dodging each other pretty well, and this is when we see the power of tagging in this game. Dabi tags in, Bakugo is completely open, so the player reacts by tagging in Todoroki, completely shutting down the game plan. And Todoroki is ready to deal some damage with a pretty quick combo, spending no meter at all, just attacks and quirk buttons. Dabi's health is pretty low, so he looks to tag Shigaraki in, but Todoroki actually catches Dabi before he's able to leave, showing off something pretty cool in this game. Tagging is not safe at all. In fact, Todoroki actually lands a couple of hits before Dabi leaves, and you can see his health going lower. It might even be possible to kill the character as they're trying to tag out. If the player didn't switch to Deku here, that might have actually happened. Shigaraki is also pretty low on health, so he tags in Toga, but Deku snipes her with a Black Web, converting the full combo into plus ultra. A cool detail, just before we watch that animation, Deku does not have a jumping super. So what happens in this situation is this unique effect where they bring the character back down to the ground automatically. This is gonna make combos with supers much more accessible to more characters, as in the previous game, if you didn't have a jumping super, you had to get really creative with wall splats or finding ways to come back to the ground. Deku doesn't just spend one bar here, he follows up with Bakugo's new super, which doesn't deal too much damage because of the scaling. But using his speed, Bakugo is able to finish off Toga anyway. Since the CPU just lost a character, they gain a stock of burst. Shigaraki is immediately tagged in, lands a combo, and Bakugo uses the player's first burst of the match. But now that the player is out of escapes, Shigaraki can finally go all out. After bursting himself out of a combo, he's gonna activate the big new system of this game, Rising. Rising heals your recoverable health, activates a unique trait every character seems to have, and might even remix your moveset. Shigaraki here goes straight into plus ultra, which even though Bakugo blocks, it still deals a ton of chip damage. A moment of silence for this hitbox. Thank you very much. Shigaraki's rising trait is the constant decay on the floor. It tracks the opponent, so if you are touching the ground, you are constantly losing health. Deku doesn't mind it though. He's gonna pressure Shigaraki on wake up and finish him off, bringing in Dabi. Now, it's worth pointing out that Dabi has virtually no health here, but since he is the last character on the team, he will automatically activate Rising and get about 50% of his HP back. This always seems to happen with the last character of a team, which is going to play a big role on how you play the game and how you pick your characters. Dabi's unique trait is the spawning fire traps all over the stage. Their placement seems to be a bit random, so this is more of an RNG trait compared to Shigaraki. Here we get a new mechanic too, called Counter Crash. This is what happens when two armored moves collide with each other. Once Justice has handled this interaction in very different ways. In the first game, armored moves would just persist and he would try to power through the opponent's attacks. In the second game, armored moves would break through the opponent's armor, so usually whoever did it first would win. And in this game, hitting someone with an armored move while they are armored triggers this cutscene called Counter Crash. You don't get any combos from this, but it deals good damage and resets to neutral. Deku is on the defense, but he switches to Todoroki while blocking, who activates his own Rising. And Dabi has no choice here but to use his last burst if he wants to survive. But it's going to be hard to do so, as Todoroki's Rising trait is a slowdown effect on the opponent. So Dabi is going to have a lot of trouble running away. He uses his Rising action here, which is this evasive jump. I believe every character gets a unique Rising action after activating Rising, and they seem to be mostly about mobility, but not all of them are retreating moves. In fact, right before this, we saw Todoroki's Rising action. It's this quick teleporting attack. So the slowdown effect plus this Rising action is going to make it impossible to run away from Todoroki in this game, and he shows that off perfectly here by getting close to Dabi and unleashing his unblockable plus ultra. Victory for Team Hero. Let's get into our second match. So here we have 6 brand new characters in All's Justice. None of them were ever playable before. And Ojiro here wasn't even playable at PAX, making this the first gameplay we've seen of him. Most of his quirks are going to be all about using his tail, as you'd expect. We just saw quirk 3, this is quirk 1, seems to be a Rekka, quirk 4, and quirk 2, which is the dive kick. Sato comes in and puts a stop to his combo game, and he has some unique sugar cube stocks. He uses one of them when trying to use quirk 4. Unfortunately, quirk 4 misses, so we don't get to see what it does. But using quirk 1, he eats another cube, so he can replenish these at any time. Of course, that leaves him vulnerable though, something Ojiro is going to take advantage of, until Sato decides to break the combo using his burst and tagging in Monoma. The plan didn't work out too well, as Monoma also gets caught in a combo, but this time Ojiro decides to share the spotlight with his team, ending the string with Koda. Koda has 2 unique gauges, the birds and the bees. He doesn't spend any of the birds in this match, but you can see quirk 2 is the one that spends the bee stocks. Unlike Sato though, Koda does not have to manually refill these, they just come back over time. He does utilize a lot of birds in his combos, but those seem to be just part of his auto combo. They don't spend any of the stocks. Zero comes in and tries to make something happen, but runs into an armored move, triggering a counter crash and immediately tagging in Sato, so he's the one that tanks that damage. Sato lands a good counter attack, but doesn't extend in any way, and Koda is going to take this chance to land a hit and confirm into plus ultra. Sato goes down, and Monoma enters the stage, bursting out of a combo immediately and bringing in Zero. Zero actually lands his quirk 4 but doesn't follow up with anything, and since he's so low on health, he might as well activate Rising here. The last character is gonna have it no matter what, so go ahead and spend that meter. Shoji comes in, lands a few basic attacks, and that's gonna be enough to take down Zero. Monoma is the last character. He comes in with Rising and 50% health automatically, immediately bursts out after hitting the opponent, which seems to be a bit of a waste, but upon closer inspection, that did not spend his burst stock at all, so it seems to be possible to burst outside of getting comboed. I don't know why you would though. Shoji is going to land some more basic attacks, this time tagging in Koda, who confirms it to super, but this is a bad combo as the super completely misses, so Ojiro's super does not land at all either. Monoma is trying to use his copy quirk, that seems to be his quirk 4, but Ojiro isn't having any of that. You can copy this tail with your face if you really want to. And to close this out, let's take a quick look at a story mode mission. Deku versus Shigaraki in a destroyed city. So this is probably towards the end of story mode. This is kind of the big battle. And it's a simple 1v1 versus match against the CPU. Not too much to it, no unique mechanics or gimmicks here, outside of it being a 1v1. As you can see, there are no teammates. Both characters started with Rising meter completely full, and there's some story dialogue happening as they fight. Other than that, it's something you could recreate in versus mode. At the end of the battle, you do get this cool cinematic cutscene.
セカンドトランスミッションセカンドサードトップオーバードライブデトロイト
That's actually where the footage ends. I swear I didn't cut the video. I'm expecting this story mode to be pretty similar to One's Justice. In my first trailer reaction, I thought we'd get more of a cinematic story mode and less of a slideshow story mode. But then I watched Kashimaru's video on it, and he made a good point. Reminded me that One's Justice 2 also had trailers full of cinematics, and they are in the game, they do exist, but they're very much in the minority. Most of the story mode looks like this. That said, some press outlets have confirmed that there will be some free roaming in story mode, which is brand new in the series. You will be traveling from mission to mission in kind of an open world or an open hub, I'm not sure. But my theory is that outside of walking around and talking to NPCs, the story mode is going to be pretty much like the previous games. That's just a theory for now, however. I haven't seen more than you guys have at this point. But I hope you've enjoyed this extended look at My Hero Academia All's Justice. Let me know in the comments which character you would like to see gameplay for in the future, just in case I have a chance to record this game myself. And for more anime games, you can check out this video right here. Thanks for watching. Bye.